What's up, good people? These are the adventures of a temporarily out of work wife and mother. And today is hair day. Well, last Saturday was hair day. And if you watched the weekend reset number 5, then you already know that I started pre-pooing this hair smack dab in the middle of my home reset. So what I did was I used one of my deep conditioners that's really slick to help and detangle and pre-poo my hair. Pre-pooing is a great option when your hair has been in braids or twists or some other protective style for quite some time, and you want your hair to absorb the nutrients associated with that conditioner, and you want to give it the same effect that you might give a co-wash, but you know that you actually need to shampoo that hair really well. So your hair is going to be thirsty and ready for moisture, and it's going to absorb the ingredients and the benefits of that deep conditioner before you even wash it. And then when you wash it, of course, you're going to wash off the residuals, but you're going to put it back in by putting a deep conditioner on. So it gives you the best of both worlds. You get that hair detangled so that it's not matted when you wash your hair, and you also get to rehydrate it and condition it. So I do this process in sections. I do everything in sections. Now, if you don't have an unbrush, you need to get you one, because that thing is the truth. Very little pulling or tugging. It does a fantastic job of detangling even the most coarse, the most tangled, the most intertwined hair you could even imagine. It also does a great job of removing that dead hair and shed hair. So you will see a lot of hair in that brush, but it won't be because your hair is falling out or the brush is pulling it out. It'll be because it's dead and or shed, and you had a protective style in. So you haven't been combing your hair for weeks or months. So now it's time to rinse that pre-poo out. We're going to rinse it really well, starting in the back and going to the front. I have a really hard time getting all of my hair wet because of the density of my hair. A lot of times the water just runs right off the hair. The water doesn't really absorb and fully saturate my hair. So what ends up happening is I have to shampoo my hair 2, 3, 4 times in order to get it fully cleansed. So another great advantage of pre-pooing is that I have to rinse it really well to get all of that conditioner out. So when I go to shampoo my hair, I only need one squirt, and I can start from the end and work my way up, and my entire head is saturated in shampoo, and it's very easy for me to cleanse my hair without having to do 2, 3, and 4 washes. So if you're like me and you have to do 2 or 3 shampoos before you get a really good suds, and you have a hard time ensuring that your hair is fully cleansed, try doing a pre-poo first, and it will change your life. Dramatically cutting down on your shampoo time and getting your hair clean in 1 shampoo. If you have to do 2 in order to feel like your hair is clean, knock yourself out, but I'm not doing that. Reparting out my sections was a breeze because it was already parted when I pre-pooed and I rinsed it in those sections. I didn't shampoo it in the sections, but you get my drift. And once it's all sectioned out, I'm going to use my Mael conditioner as well as a deep conditioning hair mask. Thankfully, I don't have to do much detangling. All I need to do is work those 2 products through my hair, use my unbrush to make sure that it's evenly distributed, and then put that hair in Bantu knots section by section. And that's what I'm doing now. So one of the things that I've noticed about my hair over the years is that I have about 3 different textures. I have a section that's about 3B, 4A. I have a section that's about 4B. And that 4B section is in the crown of my head. Also, the hair on the right side of my head is thicker than the hair on the left side of my head. And the thickest, most dense part is that middle section in the front. And that's why I do not section the front of my head in 2 sections. That section needs special attention to ensure that it's fully hydrated, fully saturated in product, and properly detangled. Hair porosity is a thing. The same reason why it's difficult for me to fully saturate my hair in water before I shampoo it is the reason why I have to spray my hair when I'm halfway done or so, because it will start drying on me before I can detangle it and do all of the rest of that stuff. And that's why I like to use the Bantu knot method, because that keeps it saturated with whatever product I have in it and kind of keeps it wet longer than just having it loose. Once that air hits it, it immediately starts drying. And y'all know I'm going to use my grocery bags to detangle this hair. I wish I would pay for some dang on conditioning caps. Now, I leave that deep conditioner in for hours. I've been known to leave it in overnight. I have done everything. I have cooked dinner, ate dinner, cleaned the entire kitchen, and I'm almost ready for bed. I make sure that I rinse my deep conditioner out with really cool water. I start the water off warm and I slowly adjust the temperature down so that I don't shock myself, and I don't allow the water to actually be cold, because that cool water locks the cuticles of your hair, locking in the product that you've put on to the hair, so on and so forth. So the benefits of rinsing your hair in cool water are numerous, and you can research them on your own. So now it's time for the leave-in conditioning and moisturizing. What I like to do is go in with my Mielle leave-in conditioner. I also go in with a 3-in-1 serum, and then I go in with my braid and lock butter whenever I'm going to be doing two-strand twists. I try to use all complementary products from the same brand for my shampoo, condition, leave-in, and then I can adapt my specialty products for whatever my needs are. So in this case, I'm using the lock and braid butter because I'm going to do a twist out, and that is by Kaleidoscope. The So Brat collection. I use my unbrush to make sure that those products are properly distributed. Then I put them in Bantu knots and let it air dry overnight. If nothing else, this process will definitely make your hair grow. To think that I had a short haircut a little over 3 years ago that included the back of my hair being shaved off. I maintained that cut for about 6 months, and since then I've just been letting it grow, keeping it trimmed. The only chemicals I've done to my hair is color stripping to give it some color. I've straightened it once. I did a whole year of no heat as well. And since my hair grows down the back of my neck like a Wolverine, I did shave that off. You'll see that my neck is dark. That is a product of diabetes. It is not dirt. I use witch hazel to clean my neck off after shaving. And you'll see that the dark area remains, because that astringent would have removed dirt if that's what it was. But it is not. This is the following day. And now it is time to do my twist set. For my twist, I'm going to use the Mielle pomade that turns into an oil just to add some moisture to my hair. My Eco Styler gel, just a little bit, and I'm applying that to the entire section. And then I'm using my Pure, which is a braid and lock gel, and I'm only going to use that at the root. I am not using a mirror. I'm filming using my back camera, but I didn't have enough light, so that's why it looks a little fuzzy. I'm also going to use my Mielle braid mousse on each row, so I will make sure that that hair in that row is a little damp, and then apply that mousse after I've applied the Pure to the root, because I don't want that Pure to get distributed throughout the hair. I'm also using that selfie monitor to be able to see the back of my hair, and that is a great plus to ensuring that my parts are straight, so I don't have to keep getting up, going in the bathroom, holding a mirror up, trying to part while holding the mirror and all that good stuff. So that's another great use for that selfie monitor, and I'm gonna pin it to this video so that you can get yours. So what I do sometimes, and I'm doing it this time, is I do about 5 or 6 braid strokes. Then I split that middle section into 2 and join each of those sections to the left and right section, and then I just do my 2-strand twist. When I do my 2-strand twist, I make sure that I'm rolling the hair. That allows for the 2-strand to be a lot tighter so that it doesn't just unravel as soon as it's twisted. Now, right now, those two strands look really skinny, but that's because they have product, they're a little damp, and they're twisted really tightly. But as they dry, of course, they're going to puff out some, but they're not going to get too big. And that's the way that I like mine. I also make sure that I roll my ends so that my ends will be curly. I also use those clips to weigh my two strands down some so that they don't shrink up too much. Nothing wrong with shrinkage, but I like my two-strand twists to be stretched. And I repeat this process on each section. I spray a little water just to make the hair slightly damp. I use the Mael pomade, and then I use a little of the Eco Styler gel. Then I section off the row using that Pure to make sure that those lines are crispy and those roots are smooth. And then I use the Mael foam, and that's just going to help to hold the two-strand twist so that my style can last for at least 2 weeks. I try to stretch it to about 3, and usually that 3rd week I take the two-strand twist out and I leave my hair out in kind of a twist out for about a week. So I make the hairstyle last for about a month. And now I am going to show you me actually doing one of the twists in normal speed. So I'm doing about 5 or 6 braid strokes so that those roots are really taut, so that they're not puffy as I'm wearing the style. And then I'm splitting the two, and then I'm switching my arms over so that I can do my two-strand twist. And I'll show this again when I get to the front because the camera view was a little better. You can imagine that doing my whole head took several hours. And even though my parts are pretty large because my hair is thick and my hair does have some length, it's going to take time. I can't imagine what's going to happen when my hair is actually long and I'm doing this style. This is why I prefer my hair braided. So if anybody knows my sister, tell her to get her behind down here and braid my hair already so that I won't have to do this. But I digress. Because our heads are not square, once you get to the part right above the ear, it is always so hard to part straight across from one side to the other. So one of the things that I found is that parting from ear to ear over the top and then down the middle allows you to just part one of those little sections all the way up, and then you can literally just join that section on the sides and the front as well as on the other side. And in that way you can ensure that your part is even and straight all the way around your head without sitting there fighting to part from one temple to the other temple. Instead, you just part that first section, get all of your twists or your braids done, and then you can literally connect each row of the joining sections to the rows that are already parted and braided or twisted out. It saves you some time, some energy, and helps to ensure that everything is sized the same. Now, what I did do is I made that one twist. I'm sure you can see it right there in the middle of my head. I made the parts for that one too large. I should have made it a little bit smaller, but not the end of the world. And now I've joined that front part to the part for that middle section, and it was easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I have slowed it down so that you can see me do my 5 or 6 strokes and then split that middle piece into 2, join those 2 to the left and right piece of the braid, and then go into my two-strand twist. And again, this is in normal speed. Obviously, I twist pretty quickly, and the more you do it, the faster you'll get. And obviously, the longer the hair is, the longer it'll take to actually do the twist. So you want to be twisting as fast as possible. And my hair is not long, but it has enough length that it takes me quite a few strokes to get through one of these twists. And if you look at the twists in the back, you'll see that they're already starting to kind of like draw up as they dry down. So of course they won't be as skinny as the ones are in the front because I just did them. Once I get that right section done, I start in on that middle section because I like my part to be on the left. And as you see, that even joins up with that section in the back. Once I get to the middle section, I start doing the first twist, going towards the back so that the crown of my head will be fuller. And then I do each twist in that row slightly angled towards the side and the back so that they're not falling in my face. And I continue this for the entire middle section, all the way over to where my part is going to be on the left side. So I do those braids and twists going back and to the right. Now, as you start getting closer to the end, you'll find that your hair will need to be dampened. You might even need to comb through the ends because the strands are longer and they get tangled up sometimes. So you want to make sure that your hair is completely smooth as you're twisting. You don't want it to be frizzy. You don't want any lumps, bumps, or tangles. Consistency is key. You do not want some of your twists to be big, some to be small. You want them to be consistent. And as you can see, those parts line up from the left section to the back section, just like we intended. And as I work my way up this section, I do the same thing that I did in the middle. I braid and twist that first twist going backwards, and then I braid and twist each twist back into the left so that they're not hanging in my face and so that it matches the other side. And that is wash day in our 2-strand twist on natural hair. This is the following day. I slept with those clips and that bonnet on, and those edges are still slick.